Good afternoon, welcome back to the channel, and this is going to be my first 10 games of the 52 game challenge. So this year I've started to use an app to record the games that I've been playing, and you leave little reviews and things, and you score it out of 5. So that app is called, or the website or the app's called Minimap. Let me see if I can just show you quickly. So it's kinda like this. So you get to leave your reviews and you get to leave your overall score. So I'm just going to read off what I wrote down, here. So the first game was, you've probably seen it there, is the Pathless. So this game was a Club 52 game, and it was chosen by Paul Ink Northerner. So the wheel span and it landed on this, and I have played this before, but I'll read out what I wrote here so I can remember. So, in the lands of tainted gods, it's up to you to cleanse each one and restore order to their beloved fields. Throughout the lavish landscapes, you come to learn of the Pathfinder's pilgrimage and the destruction and devastation left in his wake. Many fallen brethren lay dead at your feet as you pursue the Pathfinder, who has inevitably become the God Slayer. Free the gods and rid the world of this zealot. So this was my second playthrough of this game. Enjoyed it much more. There's no hand holding in this game. Exploration's key. Learning more of the story and the lore, also reaching that sweet platinum, which I've managed to get eventually. Traversal is a huge highlight, as is the sprawling scope of these lands. There is an epic thumping soundtrack that accompanies each boss, which in themselves are spectacles, especially when you're the chase part of it is really cool. And if you like Journey and Abzu, this game is a must. So that was my review for the Pathless. Really did enjoy it. That was first game first game of the year. Second game of the year was, this was a pick from, went back when we did the kind of 25 games of the first quarter of the century. It was Snestastic that picked out this game, and it's a game I've always wanted to play. I've always had my eye on to play, and this was just a great time to start playing these kind of games. So the Pathless I gave 3.5 out of 5. Aye, 3.5. Anyway, this game was Bloodstone 007. Really cool. So I'm going to read out again what I wrote up here. So I wrote, top drawer Daniel Craig Bond action. Biological WMD plans on the hands of the bad guys. Bond is on the case, following leads and information from Joss Stone's character Nicole Hunter that takes him on a globe-trotting adventure. Very cool set pieces with nice gunfights and excellent and satisfying bone-crunching melee takedowns. The driving parts, where they do look really cool and they have nice layouts, but they are ultimately a bit of a letdown. They rely too much on trial and error rather than a smooth, fluid experience. Really cool intro scene, which is worthy of that Bond level kind of intros with a nice music to go with it. And I put here as well, it's got a kind of Bond meets Drake kind of feel to the game, which isn't a bad thing. I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, Bloodstone 007, really cool game. It's a good game to kind of play, just do one kind of playthrough. That's the kind of hook. It's just a cool one playthrough. Next game was, what was the next game? So this was a Ninja Bear Hug pick from the same kind of 25 games of the first quarter of the century, and it was Dead Island. I did play it on the PS3. I do think I should have played it on the PS4, like in hindsight, but I really did enjoy it. So what I wrote here was a slice, dice, smash, shock 'em up, shoot 'em up. Knocking off the dead is extremely satisfying. Taking control of one of 4 immune survivors looking for a way off a holiday resort island. Welcome to Banoi. Fight and scavenge your way through the holiday resort, infested city and a wild jungle. The environments are wonderfully realised and feel truly lived in. You help out loads of helpless survivors in order to bolster your arsenal and ultimately escape this hellish retreat. I got vibes of this game when I was playing it. I felt it was very It was like a mashup between Far Cry 3 and Zombie U, which are both great games as well. And yeah, I wrote in the review as well. I played this on PS3, but I'd imagine it would be a lot better on the PS4. I think it would just be a lot smoother and stuff, because it does show its age a little bit on the PS3, but it's still a fantastic game. And that, I gave that a 3 out of 5. Bloodstone I gave a 3.5, and this I gave a 3. Next game was game number 4 was the Saboteur. This was another Club 52 game, and it was picked by Ross Bahaha. So I'll jump straight into the review. In Nazi occupied France, the resistance are fighting back little by little. Cue Sean Devlin, the Krauts never factored in a foul-mouthed, womanising speed freak of an Irishman. No nonsense approach, get in, blow shit up. Great use of the era's music, even if car radios were not a thing back then. It's pretty satisfying smashing through roadblocks while listening to Feeling Good. The cars too are really cool, especially the kind of race cars of that kind of era. Gameplay is split into various forms. You've got stealth, third person shooting, driving. I didn't think any of them were particularly excellent, but they all did a serviceable job to the game and the overall kind of feel to the game. The black and white aesthetic is absolutely superb. Amazing, that's one of the biggest kind of draws of the game, that black and white aesthetic, and then it kind of goes colour once you liberate the areas. That's really, really cool. It's got a lot of Grand Theft Auto influences in there, obviously. It's got side missions, carjacking, the open world. It's very much like a, how can you, like a Grand Theft Auto meets kind of Assassin's Creed kind of thing. And it's been labelled like since it's a hidden gem in this kind of era. A lot of people might have missed it. It is a really cool game. I gave this a 3 out of 10. I think 3 out of 5, sorry, 3 out of 5. So it's Saboteur. What was the next game? Game number 5. So this is a game I wanted to play for ages and ages and ages. It just never came down in price. I think I finally got it for like £20, I think it was. And it's Syriza and the Lost Demon. Really, really cool. I really do enjoy the Bayonetta games. I think they're mad, they're brilliant. But this isn't Bayonetta as you know it. It's not that kind of 3D action, like slash 'em up kind of thing. It's an isometric game, and you control Syriza and you control the demon with each analog stick. It's really cool. I'll read out the review that I did. So the fledgling witch that would become Bayonetta journeys into the forsaken Avalon forest to become as strong as a witch as she can be to free her mother. Along the way she summons a demon to aid her, and in doing so the demon fuses itself to her stuffed cat Cheshire. With no way back to his home, he reluctantly assists Syriza with the promise of being returned to the Inferno. Guided by a vision of a young boy, Lucawan, the pair set out on a grand adventure. Controls are superbly implemented and become very intuitive. The left Joy-Con controls Syriza and her magic, and the right Joy-Con controls Cheshire and his brute force. Gorgeous world presented in a lovely hand-painted kind of style, and a very big departure from the other Bayonetta games, like I said. So if that's the kind of thing you thought this game would be, it's not what you're looking for. But I don't think a lot of people would. I think if a lot of people know this game, they know it's not the same as other Bayonetta games, if that makes sense. There's some end-game content, including a separate story for Jean, and it's a perfect reason for me to go back to it one day. Someday I'll go back to it. So Syriza and the Lost Demon, I gave a 4 out of 5. I thought it was really cool. Next game we've got is Ghost of Yoti. This game is phenomenal. I can't rave about this game more. I absolutely loved it. It was just a special, spectacular game. And I did mention, I think it was in a video before, that I preferred this to Tsushima, which I still do stand by. I do, even after I finished it. I just like the simpler kind of revenge story as opposed to the kind of big full-on scale war of the Mongols attacking in Tsushima. And Tsushima's amazing. It's an amazing game, but I did just prefer this a little bit more. I felt it was a bit more, a bit tighter. I really loved this game. But anyway, I'll go into the review that I gave it. So, an epic tale of revenge and family. After being left for dead, a young swordsmith's daughter, Atsu, travels the mainland, sharpening her skills to exact revenge on the Yote 6. The game picks up on her return to Etzel. She's ready and hell-bent on revenge, and nothing will stand in her way. During her journey, she encounters many masters of different weapon disciplines. This is where the combat and gameplay really expands as she masters each weapon that switches up each combat encounter. The combat here is exceptional. Graphically, the game is flawless, sweeping vistas, intricate details in the close-ups, and an absolute joyous photo mode. Loved it. Where you can really express the beauty of the game. Performances are brilliantly executed, believable characters that really draw you in. Even the NPCs and the vendor characters are so good and add to the world. And the music is breathtaking. I often found myself just playing the wolf song on Atsu's guitar and just like walking through the flowers and the woods, and then your wolf kind of came by and just walked with you. It was just really cool. After the titles roll, there's still so much to do and experience, so many side quests that don't feel like fluff, but feel like worthwhile additions to the land of Etzel. Lots of collectathon items to uncover and find, like the fox dens, the paintings, the songs, etc. Sucker Punch have not only created a worthy successor to Tsushima, but in many ways exceeded in their craft of creating wonderful worlds with deep stories, memorable characters and sensational gameplay. Goes to Yote, 5 out of 5. Top game. My favourite game so far of the 10 games that I've played. And then what is next? What game is next? Come on. So this game is Get Even. So this is a game that I've played before and I enjoyed it before. I enjoyed it just as much as I did the first time. And this was a request from Feed Me Chicken. He asked us to play this, and I think he asked Ross and Soup. I think he asked them guys to play it as well and to go for the platinum. I'm just not a platinum kind of guy. Like, I played it again, but I don't think I'll go for the platinum. I don't know. I think the other guys did, but it is a really cool game. It's a really cool game. And I'll read out my review of it. So, a kidnapped girl, stolen prototypes, cutting edge technology, and a creepy asylum. Get Even story demands your attention. Seriously, if you take your eyes off of the story and what's happening, it can be a hard story to follow. Twists and turns around every corner. Questions are answered by more questions. Shady characters are everywhere. Everyone is out to get everyone with their greedy and nasty motives. Gameplay is good for the most part, but never outstanding. The asylum setting was by far the coolest aspect of the game. However, the other areas are all just as good and serve the purpose to the story well. Graphically, it's decent, nothing mind-blowing, but it has some nice details and the environments are all well realised. The sound is very well done. Again, the asylum is a standout here with the atmosphere and the sound and the voices that kind of echo throughout the corridors is cool. Nice music pieces. There's a section like in a graveyard where there's a cheesy pop song that seemed to be reactive to what you were doing, like taking out the guards and stuff. That was really cool. And I wrote here as well, I believe there's multiple endings, maybe 2, one of which requires you to do the game extremely stealthily, but I can't help myself. Whenever I see guards walking predetermined paths, they must be wiped out. The game can be completed in around 6 to 7 hours, which I have been told can be an easy platinum with 2 runs. The second one can be eye-opening as you find out what the story is and stuff. So I Get Even, really good game. I gave it a 3 out of 5. and that was game 7. Was it game 7? Ah, yeah, game 7. And then game number 8 was Uncharted Golden Abyss. This game's well cool, man. I've only played it once before, and then I played it again during this challenge, and I really enjoyed it. It's such a cool game that seems to get overlooked quite a bit, the kind of black sheep in the family, but it's so good. But I'll read out my review that I wrote on here. So you start off the game helping out an old associate called Dante, looking for lost treasure in Panama. I think it was Panama. The story then thickens with the addition of another player hell-bent on unearthing the illustrious treasure, Warlord Guerrero. A fantastic addition to the cast is Chase, the granddaughter of an archaeologist that spent his life looking for the truth behind the Spanish centuries-old secret. Graphically, this game is on par with the PS3 counterparts, especially Uncharted 1. This is definitely up there with that. Crisp and clean, full of foliage in the jungles, in the damp kind of watery caverns and stuff. The mood and lighting is excellent with great shadows. Sometimes even the shadows would give away the positions of enemies behind cover, which was really cool. And the player animations from running, jumping, climbing, being idle, shooting are all very cool, very impressive. Sound design is top notch, voice acting is impeccable as you would expect, and also the Uncharted music is just on point. Gameplay is typical Uncharted fare, which is not a bad thing. Good gunplay, which can utilise the gyro part of the Vita, touch controls that are not overly forced upon you, except for the later parts of the game, but are used intuitively to do certain tasks, like you have to wipe down some artifacts and things like that, and you use the touchscreen and the back pad and things like that. It's pretty cool. There are loads of trinkets and goodies to find littered throughout every nook and cranny. Definitely a worthy chapter in the Uncharted history. There's a massive opportunity for Uncharted to tap into Chase's life and adventures. Not sure if Naughty Dog forgot her, but there's a nod to her in Uncharted 4. Like I think it was when you're in the attic at the start of Uncharted 4 with the Nerf gun. There's a box in the attic that's addressed to Chase, so I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, I think it would be quite cool to bring her back. So, Uncharted Golden Abyss, I gave a 4 out of 5. Fantastic game. And then, so that was game 8. Game 9. Yeah. Game 9 was the most recent game on the Club 52, and I think it was on Scott's channel last night. The guys were talking about it, and it's Call of Duty Black Ops. So I couldn't make it onto the stream last night, but I thought it was a fantastic game. Like, really cool. Back in the day, like just a really good campaign, and like a lot of Call of Duty games, the campaigns kind of fell by the wayside because they are predominantly known as multiplayer games. But I'll read out my little review I did. That's exactly what I said here in the review. Call of Duty games are often associated with multiplayer, which rightly so, but the COD campaigns used to be really good and were often overlooked. This one here, Alex Mason is our protagonist in this one, told through a series of flashbacks which, while strapped to a chair in an interrogation room. The game takes you from Vietnam to the streets of Kowloon, to an abandoned Nazi warship, and back to the modern day, well, the cold era, the 60s kind of modern day. Another character we control is Hudson, assisted by Weaver, which take place mainly during the more recent times, as they're hunting down Steiner, a Nazi scientist that is in cahoots with the main antagonist Dragovich. There's quite a cool voice acting lineup in here that you've got, and I didn't notice till I read up on it. You've got Sam Worthington, Ice Cube, Gary Oldman, and I'm sure there's a few other recognisable names in there. Graphically, the game is very impressive even after 15 years. Snow-covered bases, thick foliage in the jungles, cool underwater parts and epic set pieces. The graphics are backed up with excellent sound design and brilliant musical pieces. Shooting's top notch, as you would expect from a Call of Duty game. Guns have appropriate oomph and weight to them, and now they sound great, and the action is very well placed. The multiplayer on zombies is what people would have remembered back in the day, and that's what I was kind of saying at the start, that these campaigns kind of get lost in the shuffle. But Call of Duty Black Ops, really, really cool, and I gave this a 4 out of 5. And then game number 10 for this list is, and I don't have it physically, it's Nobody Wants to Die. So it's digital. I played it on PS5 and I got it for like £3, I think it was. It's a bargain at £3. It's a really, really cool game. Again, I'll read out my review I put here. So the year is 2329, set in a Blade Runner-esque New York. Immortality is the norm. By transferring your consciousness to another donor body, shady going-ons throughout the elite of the city, bringing about their death, deceit, debauchery and disaster. You're playing as a down-and-out cop, James Carter, a die-hard crime movie enthusiast. The game plays out like one of his favourite movies. This is a dark, gritty film noir detective game that is very well put together. Gameplay wise, it nails the detective feel and the eureka moments when things start to fall in place. There's no gunplay, just investigation tools, an X-ray tool to see through walls and floors, a UV light to follow blood spatters, and a reconstructor that, funny enough, reconstructs the crime scene. There's a good cast of characters that are all very well realised through their performances, that all just feel right and well fitted. Graphically, this is very good. The vistas of the 24th century New York City is stunning to look at. The game is really only played within small areas, so you don't really get to explore the vistas. You don't get to kind of go where you want to go. The kind of levels are played out in like little levels. But even then, the detail is excellent. But truly, the vistas of New York City are absolutely breathtaking. Not a long playthrough, but definitely worth a go. So for Nobody Wants to Die, I gave a 3.5. Really cool, really enjoyed that. And it looks absolutely stunning. So I have finished game number 11, but that will wait till the next video. And it was absolutely brilliant, so I don't want to go into that too much. Really loved it. But wait, this is what I do want to... This is the game that I've dropped this year. And I absolutely hated it. I think it's so poor. And there's a lot of people out there that are gonna hate me for this. Pixel, Phillips, who else liked this? Scott liked it. Retro 48K, I'm sure he put it in his list as well. Who else was there? I think Mark Jordy Slasher likes it as well. But the game I dropped is Final Fantasy X. This game is boring as all hell. Honestly, it's so... it's so poor. I don't know what the big deal is about it. I think it... You know, when I look back on like reviews for Final Fantasy 13, like it gets slammed for being like a corridor RPG kind of thing. This is exactly the same. But I do think Final Fantasy 13 is a lot better than this game. Another thing that's just awfulness is Blitzball. Blitzball is terrible. It's just bad. It's just bad. But I put a lot of time into this. I got 20 odd hours into it. And I remember the point where I stopped playing it. And if I can put in some little kind of video here, I'll put it in. But basically, what happened was I got to Mount Gagazet, if anyone's played the game. And like I beat the 2 Ronsos with Kamari, and that was fine. And then like the next part of the game was just, it was like the difficulty just ramped up like massively. I was getting one-hitted by everything. And then I got to a boss, Seymour, up in the mountains, and like he used like 5 moves on me without me even getting a turn. I was just like, I can't be bothered playing this game. It doesn't, you don't like level up in a traditional sense in an RPG. Like you've got to manually level up. Like you get your SB points and then you go into the sphere grid, and you've got to manually put your points where you want to put them. And I think I think if you don't know what you're doing, you can go the whole a completely wrong way on the sphere grid, and that would just be detrimental to going forward. It just wasn't. It's not great. I think Final Fantasy games have got better over time, and I know that's going to be another big shocking hot take, but I think Final Fantasy 12 is so much better than this game. So much better. Final Fantasy 12, you know, just Balthier and Fran, just them two are just amazing. I think 13's a lot better because I think it obviously looks a lot better. It's a lot flashier. 15 infinitely better than this game, and 16 is just peak. Like, oh, this is not good. This is not good. It feels like it's like a PS1 Final Fantasy that's made the transition to PS2, but it's just lost the PS1 magic. Like it really has. It's not great. And that's a shame. But Final Fantasy 10, no, that's been dropped. And it hurts, man, because I got right far through it and I thought I was going to finish it, and then I was just like, nah, I can't be bothered with it. But what games am I playing just now? So I'm going to start playing Kill Switch. So this is the next game in Club 52. I played this before back in the day, not back in the day, a couple of years ago, and it's really cool. It's one of the kind of first games that used the cover mechanic, kind of what made like Gears of War and things like that popular. This game kind of did it kind of first. It is really cool. Looking forward to playing it again. It's not as good as like Gears of War and things like that because they really perfected it, but this is pretty cool. So look forward to going through this again. And I'm also playing Banishers Ghosts of New Eden. That game's phenomenal. I'm loving that so far. Absolutely brilliant. I'll leave, when I finish this video, I'll just leave a little clip just here, just so you can watch. Just a cutscene from it, and it really kind of sets the scene, and it's fantastic. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and take care. Bye bye. What?
Will you slay the righteous?
Be not alarmed. I bring you aid.
There is no aid. There is only dereliction.
Where's Antea? What have you done with her? Hellsballs. Lady, if you hurt her...
You cling to love, a fool to the last. There is no love. There is only defilement. No.